You can't go in and say, oh, coach, I got to go do this, I got to do that. That shit doesn't fly. And you know it won't fly because it's not going to make you the best. That's if you're striving to be the best of the best. It needs to be looked at and treated the same way any other.
Get the fuck up. Simon says, get the fuck up. Throw your hands in the sky.
The first question here I'm going to address is from Joey Moore, 51. But there were a couple questions from others that fell in the same topic. And the question he's asking here is, how do you deal with distractions via family, work, school, etc., to make sure you're consistently getting to the gym and getting high quality training sessions? I'm not really too sure that I would say that my family, work, and school is a distraction, so to say, but you do bring up a good point. And I think the first point that that needs to be looked at here is you have to define where the training is for you and what you're trying to accomplish from the training. From that perspective, we're falling in priorities a little bit. And while priorities do change based upon day, time, week, or whatever, there's still an overlying theme of where things are going to fall in regards to sport, training, and so forth. So to really answer this question, you need to look at what is the reason why you're competing. Are you competing to be the best, or are you competing because it's something that you like to do, it's fun, and are you a recreational lifter, or are you striving to break world records and so forth? If you're striving to break world records and that's what your goal is to be the best powerlifter, the best bodybuilder, the best strongman, or the best athlete if we get outside of the strength sports, it's going to have to rank pretty high. It's going to have to be, your first or second priority. It's going to have to rank really, really high. And when something like that is that important and it's ranking that high in your life, then it's going to have to be scheduled before everything else. So when it comes to your training sessions, regardless of what style of training you're doing, if you're training 4 times a week, 6 times a week, 8 times a week, or 14 times a week, when you go to map out your week, your schedule for the week, the training goes in first. That's the very first thing that's being scheduled. Everything else is going to fall within those gaps around the training. That's when the training is the first priority. So that's where, work would fall and school would fall and, family and all those other things would fall. They're all still priorities, but they're going to fall within the creases of your training. So think of it this way. If you played Division I football or any college football or professional football, you have to be at practice at a certain time, regardless of what's going on. You have to be there between X time and X time. You have to be at films between X time and X time. You need to be at study at this time and this time. Everything is scheduled and planned out, and then all those times that aren't scheduled, that revolve around the sport, that's your free time. That's your time for yourself, your family, your classes, school, work, whatever else is going to be there. But those main times, they don't change. They're not excused. You can't go in and say, oh, coach, I got to go do this, I got to do that. That shit doesn't fly. And you know it won't fly because it's not going to make you the best. That's if you're striving to be the best of the best. It needs to be looked at and treated the same way any other athlete would look at their own training. Now, once the meet's over, things can change. There's off seasons for most athletes to where, priorities will shift a little bit and will give you more free time, but typically it's not as long as what most people think it is. Now, if you're on the other side and you're just doing the powerlifting or lifting just for fun, then it doesn't fall like that. It doesn't work that way. Then training is going to fall and has to fit around the rest of your life, the rest of the schedule for your life. So you're not going to blow off work for your training. So training is going to have to fall within those times that you are not at work. It's going to have to fall on those days that are not your kid's birthday, on those days that are not holidays, on those days. So it all has to fit within those parameters. So if there's any real takeaway from this to help everybody across the board, from the top athletes all the way down to the recreational lifters, use your calendar, man. Schedule things. When you have everything scheduled, even if it's the hours that you're going to be at work and the hours that you have to be at a birthday party or whatever it is, put it on a calendar and schedule it. Then you'll see what hours are available. You'll be amazed at how much time you have in your day when you start scheduling things, and you can look at it and see how much time is actually available and how much time is not. Then you don't spend a lot of time just being idle and wasting time, which happens most of the time.